everybody, welcome back to ChristiChristie. Hope you guys are having a blessed day today. Today we're going to talk about how our particular journeys affected our friendships and relationships outside of our marriages, and kind of how we navigated those waters and how the friendships are going.
Yes, so for me, I would say during my child loss journey, and especially because I did isolate myself somewhat after the losses, just, feeling like I was more withdrawn and everything. It did affect friendships, and so it was one of those things that if you didn't really reach out to me, then I wasn't really checking for you either. That sort of thing. And so I would say that there were, some people in particular that I didn't expect, but they would always check up on me, send me text messages, outside of my Christi, just other people that I didn't expect. But they would always check up on me, send me text messages, hey, I'm just thinking about you, praying for you, just, we'll see how you're doing today, that sort of thing. And I really, really, really appreciated that. Whereas on the other hand, there were some people that I would have expected to kind of be like, right there in my corner, checking on me and, come to visit maybe, that didn't hear from.
And how did that make you feel?
It put a lot of things in perspective, and I would say with both my losses, it put a lot of things in perspective. It's like, the saying, I forget exactly how it goes, but, you kind of know who your true friends are in times of crisis. And so I feel like that was one of the things that one of the situations that it really did show true colors. And I understand that some people, they just really did not know what to say, how to address it, and I definitely get that. But something as simple as a text message is like a message, just saying, hey,
just to know that they're thinking about exactly thinking about you.
Yeah. And so, some of those friendships are, although they're still intact, they're just not as strong as they were previously.
Yeah, I think that's the same with me. I just kind of, I learned a long time ago not to be offended when people don't act as you expect them to act, because sometimes my expectations are based on how I would respond to someone. And I used to get real offended when, people didn't respond the same way. If I'm going through a crisis or something's happening to me and no one's reaching out, I won't say no one, but the people you would expect to reach out, don't reach out, and don't offer any type of comfort or whatever, things that I would do for a friend. I used to get real offended by that. But going through my fertility issue, I was like, I don't care. And it wasn't like I was mad at them, like, oh, I don't want to be their friend anymore, but kind of like, I let you decide on what level we're operating on as friends. And, for lack of a better term, I'm going to just keep that same energy. If that's the energy you're giving me, then I keep that same energy towards you. And so, and that's not to be malicious or, vindictive or anything like that. It's just, I just don't have the time and space in my life while I'm going through crisis or going through certain things to try to cultivate a friendship that is one-sided.
Exactly.
Or yielding no type of fruit or benefit. So to those friends who, were there like you, who prayed with me and for me, who, understood and cared about me enough to want to know my journey and want to be a part of it in whatever way they can and support me, those are the ones I clung on to. Those are the ones that I'm like, hey, I'm struggling today, or hey, this is what's happening today, et cetera, et cetera. And immediately those are, let's pray. Let's, let's do this. Those are the moments, those are the friendships that I cherish the most. Instead of the, oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that, oh well, it'll work out, and that's not to knock those people, if you're one of them, I'm sorry. But I really appreciate the friend the friends who got in the trenches with me and helped me pray my way out of the darkness and pray my way back into hope and back into, believing and trusting in what I knew to be true from what God had promised, and not thinking about what the doctor may have said and not thinking about, whoever may be naysayer, what if, it wasn't in God's plan for you to have kids. Yes, I had those friends who said those things to me, and it didn't help. And sometimes it was hurtful, but I don't think they meant it that way. But it just kind of showed me who I could and could not share my journey with. And that's fine. Everybody can't be on your journey with you. And sometimes certain journeys you have to go alone, and you have to just be okay with however a situation presents itself to you. And I think that that's what it taught me about friendships and relationships. Just kind of like, who your true friends are in a crisis, and to kind of not lower my expectations, but manage my expectations as it relates to how people respond to me. Because, like we said in previous videos, I'm happy-go-lucky Christy. So sometimes people don't know how to respond to sad, struggling, depressed Christy, and they may be like, oh, okay, girl, well, and I can't get offended by that, and I can't get angry by that, and people have their own issues that they may have going on in their lives, so they don't have the capacity to kind of stretch themselves to be a helping hand to someone else, and that's okay too. So, you just kind of just keep that same energy. Operate on whatever level.
Right. Definitely not allowing yourself to get bitter about, because there's already so much on your plate, on your mind and everything, to really be concerned about friendships. Of course your friends are important, but a lot of times when we're going through, it's just like that's the last thing on your mind. Like, who is here. It's, kind of like at the, I would say, not the end of it all, but once you kind of get out of that haze of just depression or what have you, is when you realize, like, who is actually here for me, and you kind of evaluate those things. And so that's definitely something that I noticed once I kind of got out of that haze, like, where was, such and such.
Exactly. So I have a question for you then. So for those relationships where you were surprised that they didn't show up like you would have expected them to, like you think in your mind, I got no shadow of a doubt that if I'm stuck on a train in China, they would try to find me, whatever the case may be. Like, so when they don't show up and present themselves the way that you expect, like, how did that, affect you? And is it still affecting you to this day?
Yeah, so for me, it's the same thing, kind of managing my expectations. And so now I don't have as much of an expectation. For like the family members that may have, that I expected to kind of be there, it did put a strain on the relationship. And so it's, although we're still good per se, it's it's different.
It's kind of like an elephant in the room type thing.
Exactly.
It's always there.
Yeah, and so now it's kind of like, okay, I know that I can't rely on this person if I'm in the deepest, darkest part of my pit. This person is not going to show up for me, so I'm not going to expect that. And so if they do, then hey, awesome. But I don't have that expectation there anymore. And like I said, the relationship has evolved where it's not as, tight-knit as it used to be. And, that's okay.
Yeah. I'm sure it's okay now, but I know for me, that wouldn't have been okay. Like, I'd be a wreck, because it's like you think, you have sort of a home base. And then from that, your social circle expands. So if you feel like there's a link in your home base that isn't secure and that you can't really rely on, it's like, man, is that going to throw the whole track off? Because this one little, this one link isn't working. So I know for me, it would be rough, and, it would take time to try to figure out and how to redefine that relationship, especially if it's family.
Right.
How do I redefine this relationship? How do I interact with this person knowing that they weren't there for me at my lowest point, and continue to share my life with them?
Right.
Or do I still share my life with them? Or do I just kind of keep that relationship at surface level? So it's kind of, it's kind of tricky because I've had some of that.
It does take time to really kind of get beyond that, especially if it was somebody that you're really close to, like like I was. And but for me, and I don't want to say that I'm jaded, but after having suffering 2 losses back to back, life is just too short. And so I just focus on the people that are on my team, focus on my family, my my own self, and just everyone else is kind of like secondary at this point. I just have to really focus on making sure that I'm good and my family is good. And so it it definitely takes some time to really, like you said, redefine that relationship and be okay with it. But it's just something that to release the burden from yourself to just accept it. And,
exactly.
I just had to get to the point of acceptance.
Because I know for me, I know that I was kind of apprehensive when we first started ChristiChristie on sharing my infertility journey in IVF, because a lot of people did not know. A lot of people who were friends, did not know, and I did not share it with them. And I guess I was concerned with how they would react to it, knowing that I didn't share this major part of my life with them. But then I'm like, on the other hand, you never cared to ask. So it wasn't, it wasn't shared. So it wasn't, some people I didn't share it intentionally because I just felt like they weren't in a spiritual space and mental space to kind of be there for me. So that wasn't a part of my life that I wanted to share with them. And some people, they just simply didn't ask. So I just figured they didn't care. So, I just, went about my merry way. And, I came through, and I would say that about friendship and relationships too. I went through a period in my journey where God told me to keep silent. He said, you're talking too much, you're sharing too much. And I just need you to keep silent in this season while I'm working with you and while I'm doing these things to bring about this promise, and help you through this and get you, mentally, spiritually prepared for, what you're about to do. So I did. I went radio silent, on a lot of people. And, if they ask, hey, how you doing? I'm great. Things are wonderful. And for the most part, it was, other than, that, aspect of my life that wasn't working out. So, I just kind of kept it surface level because that's what God told me to do. So I just had, my three prayer warriors with me, who, would be there and who I would let know what was happening, and they could pray for me, cover me in prayer, and I could confide in. But everybody else, it wasn't something we shared. And if that's where you are in your journey, that may be how it is. You may not want to share it. You may not feel like the people around you understand what you're going through, whether it's child loss or infertility. And, it's important that you feel like you have a secure foundation and you have a good circle around you that you can pour into, and then can pour into you when you feel weak, when you feel at your lowest, when you feel empty and drained from everything that you're experiencing. You need people who can pour in positivity and prayer and just truly cover you and hold you where you are. And if you don't have people like that you can trust, then it's time to evaluate your friendships.
And so, that's something that we really can't emphasize enough. I think we say it in almost every video, but, just making sure that you truly have that support system that you need, because it's definitely a journey. When you are going through infertility or child loss or any other pregnancy related issue, you want to make sure that you have someone that you can kind of fall back on when you are in, the deepest, darkest part of your pit. And so that's something that you definitely want to make sure that you have. And also, if it's your loved one that is going through, just, be there for them. Even if, like I said, if it's just some text message just to say, hey, I'm thinking about you, I'm praying for you, whatever it
goes
is.
a long way.
A
text message goes a long way.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything like really long, drawn out, and poetic, whatever, flowery, type stuff. But just to let them know that you are thinking about them, that you haven't forgotten about them, that they're going through something, and that you are there if they so happen to want to reach out to you and confide in you, whatever the case may be. They know that they have you in their corner.
Yeah, exactly. So we thank you guys for watching, and we encourage you to just, evaluate your friendships and your relationships around you and see, who you can truly depend on. And I'm not saying cut anybody off by any means. But when I say evaluate them, I mean, you want to invest your story and your time and your emotions into what will reap benefits and fruit, So if you are sowing into friendships and relationships that aren't supportive, that aren't, helping you to heal, helping you to grow, helping you to, hold on to your light and maintain your light, then those are things that you may have to consider when pouring into other people.
And we have mentioned it before, but just wanted to to you all, if you do need a support group, we have one, a private Facebook page, ChristiChristie. So if you would like to reach out to us, we are available to help you through your journey as well.
Yes, connect with us. And if you don't want to, post publicly on that page, even though it is a private page, whatever's said on there will stay private. You can always send us, private message individually, and we would be more than happy to pray for you.
Yes,
more than happy. Absolutely. So take care of yourselves and each other, and we will see you next time.